Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody tonight? It is Monday. Yes, hello. Hi, Rhonda. Good to see you. Hi, Jessica. Warner's Grand Jessica. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Sharon. Hello. Good to see you. Such a sweet card. I will show these cards. Got two cards I'm going to show you. I wanted to open them to see if I could actually do them. I can. Hi, Connie. Don't get blown away tonight. I certainly hope not. So good to see you all tonight. It is Monday. Monday. Wasn't that a Mamas and Papas song? I don't remember. Something from back in the day. Yeah. How are you guys? Hi, Peggy. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Yeah. So anyway, it's Monday. It's been a crazy weekend. Last week, there's some weeks in your life that are like months long. Last week was like that. However, I'm getting through. I got through it. We did. I mean, literally last week seemed like it was like several months long. It was crazy. And I'm not done with the crazy yet, but that's okay. That's okay. It's coming soon. It's been somewhat windy here today, but nothing like, blow the hair off your head windy. Anyhow, okay, so it is Monday. And in case you are new here, I don't see any new names in the chat, but in case you're watching or you stumbled across the channel, my name is Barb, and I'm glad you're here. It's Monday. Yes. So, just before we get going, I want on the recording to make sure you know that I am not streaming May 2nd, 5th, or 9th. I will be back. The plan is to be back streaming again live on the 12th. All right? Okay. All right. So here we go. I opened the mail today and I received two beautiful cards. I had not been to the post office box for a while, so I'm sure that these two people were wondering how come I had not acknowledged them. It's because I hadn't been to the post office. But now I have. So here is this beautiful card. This is from Aunt Beck's Creation. No worries, Rhonda. This is from Aunt Beck's Creation, Becky, our Aunt Beck, and this is a beautiful stamp that she did, and she said that she created it years ago. She made it from some stamps using Fun Foam. So, Fun Foam stamp. Very good. Cat nap. Yeah. Becky and I both enjoy cats. She did this on March 13th. That tells you how long ago it's been since I've been to the post office box. Hi, Barb. I'm so sorry to hear that Chance has joined Charlie once more. If only they could be with us always. Such beautiful little souls that warm our hearts and tickle our funny bones. I was so glad they arranged some replacements. Much love, my friend Becky. Yeah. She's referring to the neighbor cats who the neighbors left, the cats stayed, and they moved in with us. Hey, Dorothy. Elton, don't text. Do not be texting. You better be stopped for gas or something. Crazy man. He went to see a granddaughter play soccer. Yeah. In case you don't know who Elton is, that is my new hubster. Well, he's new to me. Hey, Terry. He's new to me. Although we've known each other for a long, long time. And so this was what she included in the card. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that neat? So here's Charlie waiting for Chance to come across the Rainbow Bridge. Isn't that nice? Chance and Charlie together again. Yeah. How sweet is that? If you don't know who Chance and Charlie are, they are who we referred to as the sponsors. They were two Siamese cats. And we lost Charlie several years ago, and we lost Chance just a few weeks ago. That's the danger of having animals who you love, you know? And yeah, that's the danger. They break your heart, and then you get to celebrate them after that. And then this one was a beautiful card sent by Tamery Bitgood, and I showed a whole bunch of her cards a few weeks ago. Her cards are, she's so kind, and she has been so sweet. There is, what's on the back? Tamery Designs, yeah. And she sent this to me. I don't know exactly when she sent it. March of 25. Yeah. So again, over a month ago, somewhere in there. And she said, "Hello again, Barb. Thank you so much for showing and saying such nice things about the cards today on Drama Free Friday." So I don't know when that was exactly. You were so kind. Wishing you well always, Tam. P.S. This design is based on a gray carpet at the hotel I vacation at every July with a whole lot of artistic license. At the hotel, the circles are 6 or 7 feet across. This is such a fun pattern to draw, drawn on an ink blended background. So I thought I would show that to you so you could see what she did. Inspiration is everywhere, even on 6 or 7 foot in diameter circles, which to me they look like roses or flowers of some kind, don't they? Isn't that neat? Hey Jenny, good to see you. Okay, so I wanted to show those to you because those were such lovely cards. So thank you to Becky, thank you to Tam. You are so kind to send me cards. I appreciate it so much. Okay. Yeah, Jenny's here all the way from Australia. Right? It's Australia, not New Zealand, correct? Look at Dorothy. Rhonda's giving Dorothy the biz. Okay. So I thought today what we would do is find some things to stick on a page in this collage this journal. And it's one that we've worked in a couple of times, and I thought, well, maybe this is by Eleanor Shakespeare. It is a book that I think you have to get either on eBay or you have to get it from one of the secondhand or used book type places or something like that. I know several people have found it, and I thought we would work on this page right here. What makes you feel better? Now I am going to have to tell you the things that don't make me feel better are pills and things like that. So snake oil and pills don't make me feel better. So we're going to take some artist license with this, and I figure we'll just collage stuff all over this. And one of the things that I found that I had just stuck in the book here were these pictures of these kittens. And a little sleeping kitten always makes me feel good. Or a little kitten of any kind. Hey Linda, Hello to you and Tim. They always make me feel good because they're so sweet. They're just so sweet. And so I thought, let's start there. So I just have a glue paper and a glue stick, and we're just gonna stick these in. I'm not going to pre-plan this. I'm going to put these on this page first of all. And things are going to hang off the page, and then I will come back and trim off the excess because I really don't like stuff hanging off the edge of my pages. I really don't. Some people love that, and I'm not one of those people who likes that. So what makes you feel better? Write in the chat, what makes you feel better? What kinds of things make you feel better? If you're having a rough day, what kinds of things make you feel better? I think that's a great thing to contemplate. I think it's a great discussion to get into also, because I bet there are different things for many of us. I bet it's a huge variety. Okay, so there we have a start. There's a start. And if you hear I have a timer sitting on my table. Once it goes off, it's gonna ding. I gotta go get something out of the oven. So if you just hang with me and give me a couple minutes, won't even take very long. I need to go get something out of the oven. Angela says, sleeping puppy dogs going for a ride always makes her smile and giggle. Yep, I love puppy dogs. Any little baby animal, even if they're animals I don't like particularly, like, I can think of a couple things that don't thrill me, even if they're babies that don't thrill me, but not too many. Not too many. All right, let's just trim this off. This page is, what would you like to understand more clearly? Oh, that could be a long list right there. That could be a long list. Okay, so there is our beginning. Now what I have is I have a whole basket of collage crap, otherwise known as leftover bits of this and that. And we're going to look through it and see what things jump out at me that we want to put on this page that make me feel better. What else makes you guys feel better? Coffee. Oh, Cheryl. That's a good one. Jessica says, having multiple chronic illnesses, pills do make me feel better. Yeah, I bet they do. I bet they do. But so do your cats. Art and working in your little veggie garden. That's cool. Jenny says, art journaling. Coming here. Oh, that's nice. Seeing a friend for coffee. Her cat, she has 2 sphinxes and 2 rag dolls. I bet they are beautiful. I think we've chatted about that before. Hey, Brenda. Her dog, working in her flower beds for sure. Watering houseplants. A piece of good chocolate. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be good. Hot Epsom salt bath and watercoloring. You know what? The other day I went to Walmart. I don't like to go to Walmart, but the other day I went to Walmart, and they had some stuff on sale. They had Epsom salts on sale, and I love a good Epsom salts bath. And I mean, I love a good Epsom salts bath. I really do. And I like a bath, and I like to soak in Epsom salts. I can soak there for a long time. I can soak there for a real long time. And I just enjoyed that Epsom salts bath a whole lot, and I always do. And I went to Walmart, and what does Walmart have? They have 8 pounds of Epsom salts. There were 8 pounds of Epsom salts for like $6. So I bought 2. So I now am the proud owner of almost 16 pounds, only because I've used some of it, but almost 16 pounds of Epsom salts. So I should have some really good baths out of that. I do love a good Epsom salts bath, for real. Okay, I'm just digging through some of these. Good night's sleep. Boy, that's the truth. That is the truth. Linda says wrens and cherry limeade. Kittens and cherry limeade. Kittens and cherry limeade. Yeah. Oops. Dropped some stuff on the floor. I'll get that later. All right. Let's take a look at some of this stuff that I'm looking through. These are just various things in here. Those are some good little art things. I'll save those. Maybe some couple more little paper butterflies. Some of these are like, these are cardstock, so I'm gonna try to stay with paper things. What was this? Keep your heart brave and your imagination wild. That's a little big, but look at the borders on this. Those are cool. Yeah, well, we won't do that. Okay. Couple of mandalas. Yep. Okay, and writing makes me feel good. I have not written nearly enough lately. Not nearly enough. Some of these are just little bits and pieces that I had in my journaling bag, and then I took them out of my journaling bag and put them in here. Because sometimes I need to recycle what's in my journaling bag. Because I get bored. You ever get, are any of you journalers? Hey, Barbara Clark. What doesn't make Barbara Clark feel good is working with 3 strands of embroidery floss. These are more cardstock butterflies. They're wonderful, but they are cardstock. I want to stick more with paper if possible. And we will, this little girl is adorable, but she's cardstock, so I don't know. She's pretty cute. I'll set her out. I might make an exception and stick her in there. Oh, this is funny. See this little boy right here? This little kid with his hands in his pockets? That is Claus Man when he was a little boy. Isn't he cute? I don't know who these kids are. They're probably from Sunday school, I'm guessing. But that was Claus Man when he was a little guy. This is just a copy. Messy hands always make me feel good. Okay, these are some good things. Oh, books. I love me a good book. Yes, I do. I made some real hard choices on my book stack the other day. Hard choices as in you can't keep everything, you know. All right, let's take that. Let's take that. And let's see if we can put some of these things that I pulled out in here. So you never get bored? I think Barbara Clark told me the other day that I had given her lots of things to be inspired by, and that is great. That's great. Okay. Now, I've got this pulled out this stack, and I am not going to pay any attention to prearranging anything. All right? I'm not going to prearrange. Excuse me. I'm not going to prearrange stuff. We are simply going to add things into and onto this page. So let's do it. And so I've zoomed in on the pages for this journal, but over here what I have is just some scrap paper, and I'm just adding the glue stick onto it. I don't remember where this came from. But I'm sure somebody sent it to me, but I don't remember who. And I have a leaf. So we're going to put the leaf on there as well. It's a good question to contemplate what makes you feel good. It really is a good question. And I'm just using an old expired credit card, to make sure that I have good adhesion on the page. This is a little drawing that Clausman did, and I don't know where I found it, but I just found it somewhere. And so I'm going to add this. And let's just give it a little tear. So he drew this someplace. It's drawn in ink pen, and he has, apparently this is a dog house, and there's a dog, and there's a bird house, there's a bird, and a lot of grass. I have no idea what he was drawing or what inspired him. It was probably in one of his journals, and that's probably why I tore it out of the journal. I don't do that very often. I don't very often pull things out of journals, but I did on this. And I think that's very sweet, because it took me a long time to get him to journal. And when he finally started journaling and having some confidence about drawing and so forth, that let's put this right in here. When he finally started doing that, it helped him so much. It helped calm him down, and it gave him a lot of peace. And so that makes me feel good, that something as simple as writing a few words or drawing a little sketchy drawing, it made him feel good. That makes me feel good, because he I think he struggled for a long time with his mental state. I think there was a huge struggle there for him. And so to find something that makes you feel good, it made him feel good, which made me feel good that he was able to do that. Hello, Kate. Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Here are some monsters, and here's one playing basketball. Because I love basketball, that makes me feel good. So what we're gonna do, I don't need to play basketball, but I love to watch it. So I'm going to just cut out this little thing that makes it look like the basketball is in the air. I do love basketball. I love it much more than most other sports. Let's see. This guy is so happy, but I don't really want to include the entire figure. So I'm going to just kind of cut him out. I'm not sure what these little monsters, I'm not sure what magazine they came from, but they're so cute. I actually saved them because I thought they would be good inspiration for a cloth figure of some kind. So I'm just doing kind of a modified fussy cut, which means I'm not going to be too picky about this. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of a border around the figure. Once I get out of this part of it, it'll go quicker, I think. So, you know, a good meal, I think, is something that makes me feel good. Cooking for someone I love makes me feel good. I love having time with friends. I love snuggling a newborn baby. My granddaughter's little one that I went at the time that he was born. He's almost a year old, you guys. He's almost a year old. I know. I can't believe he's almost a year old. My granddaughter sent me a video the other day of him. I don't know what I don't remember what he was playing with, but all of a sudden he was just kind of squatting down. And I don't remember my son ever doing this, but he just stood up. And now I didn't stay standing very long, and Emily, his big sister, did the same thing. She did that for a long time, that squatting down, standing up. She did that a long time. I don't remember my son doing that. Maybe he did. I just don't remember it. Okay, so we've kind of got this sort of cut out. Cut out well enough, right? Well enough. Okay, let me get rid of the gunk here. And let's put this monster on this page somewhere. Maybe we'll just put him right there. One of the things about doing this on stream is that I can't, and not pre-planning it. One of those things is by doing that, I can't fuss around with it. And this is the kind of stuff, collage is the kind of thing that I could get really I could really get fussy about this a lot. And by doing it on stream with you guys, it doesn't allow me to get too caught up in the minutia and, you know, oh, what looks good and what. Okay, let's just put that right there. It just makes me just get with the program. Okay, I told you that I was going to have to go get something out of the oven. So, can you guys give me just a minute and I will go do that and I'll be right back. So, I'm going to let you keep looking at this and how about this? You can read that while I'm gone. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I was roasting some beets in the oven. Hey Amber, what are we doing today? We're doing collage. What's in the oven is fresh beets that I was roasting. So if you don't like beets, you'll go, ugh, but I love them. Amber's gonna make dinner. I do love beets, fresh beets especially. Okay, back to here. What about, I wonder if we could cut some books out of this. I do love books. I do love books and I do love magazines. I had a big collection of magazines from, they're all things that I used for inspiration. That's one of the things that really helps me, is to have things that I can just look at. Rarely do I ever try to copy what somebody else has done. Just even if I try to copy, I can't copy it because, you know, you always end up putting your own spin on things. Now, that being said, copying is a really great way to learn things. And giving credit where credit is due is always good. But I also love to have books for inspiration. Sometimes they are art books, sometimes they're sewing books, sometimes they are just picture, just books that have nothing to do with art, but they have a whole lot to do with beauty. I had that Somebody told me one time to get a book that was about clouds. I can't remember the book. I have it somewhere. And it's just this picture book about clouds. And it's just a beautiful book. Okay, let's put a stack of books somewhere. Where should we put the stack of books? How about let's stack the books. Let's give them I think we're going to make a wonky stack of books. We'll save that one. Okay? A wonky stack of books. I hope you all are having a good evening. Here it's evening. I know for Jenny it's not. Okay, let's put this one kind of on the straight here, and then let's do this one on an angle because we can. Let's let them tip off the stack that way, and then let's take this one. I love books. I also love, I don't read novels very often. Mostly what I have are either books of inspiration or nonfiction. However, when I travel, I usually have a novel to read. And I took a novel with me. I couldn't tell you now what the name of it was. Oh, it was called The Newcomer. I lied. I remembered it. When we went on the cruise for our honeymoon, I took that book with me. And I read it, the whole thing, on the trip. I got done, and I'm like, well, that was kind of a waste of my time. But it was nice to have something to do. That's the only time I read fiction is when I'm traveling. Dorothy says she just decluttered a whole stack of magazines and took them to Stitchers to raise money for the local hospice. Oh, that's nice, Dorothy. That's great. Let's see. The gold ones, I find the yellow ones are a little sweeter. That's what I find. I like a combination. Today I could only get the red ones, but I do love beets. I like to roast them when they're fresh. I roast them, wash them off, take off all but about, so much of the leaves, leave a little bit of that attached. And then I scrub them so they're nice and clean, and then I roast them in the oven until they're pretty soft. And then let them sit for a little bit. I usually don't let them sit long enough because I'm anxious to eat them. And then their skins will just peel right off, and then I will put some butter and salt and pepper on them, and I think they're delish. Okay, Rhonda likes a thriller mystery. Yeah, I like a mystery. Thrillers, yeah, I don't know. I can kind of take or leave a thriller. I don't like to be scared, quite frankly. I don't like to be scared. I don't like to be scared at all. Okay, so we have some books. We have a flower. Let's cut this off. Let's get this so it's nice and neat around the border of the page, because that's the way I am. I don't like things hanging off the page. I just don't. And then let's see what else we have here. This little girl is awfully cute, but I mean, she is cardstock. I don't know. If something else shows up, I'll put her in there. This is a neat image, but it's way too big, obviously. But isn't that a cool image? Yeah, that was from Breathe magazine, I'm sure. Neat image. Okay, this one I love. This is a neat thing. When you buy something from an artist, you're buying more than an object. You're buying hundreds of hours of errors and experimentation. You're buying years of frustration and moments of pure joy. You're not buying just one thing. You are buying a piece of a heart, a piece of a soul, a small piece of someone else's life. And I'm going to tell you something. Anything that you buy, whether it is a thing or a service from someone, and we used to run into this a lot with Clausman. He specialized in, he built houses, but the last, I don't know how many years, probably 20, 30 years, 20 years anyway, 25, he specialized in remodeling and repairs, which is definitely an art in and of itself, to repair things and to be able to, he did a lot of room additions and all different kinds of things. Anyway, he could go over to somebody's house. He was usually the last person that somebody would call. Well, not the last, but somebody who didn't, who had gotten his name from somebody else, who'd gotten it from somebody else. They would call him to come over, and usually it was a new person, because we did pretty much everything was word of mouth, and he would go, and people would have a problem that they'd been struggling with. This happened many times. Had a problem that they'd been struggling with, couldn't figure out, they'd paid many other people to figure out this thing that couldn't, hadn't been sorted out yet. And so they had called Clausman. And he would go over, and it was not uncommon for him to walk around, especially water issues. Now, he did have his limits. The house that we lived in had a water problem that he never was able to figure out. So go figure. But for other people, most of the time, he could sort out their issues pretty quickly. And sometimes that irritated people, because he would do it too quickly. Okay? And so when he would send them a bill, sometimes people would get real insulted because he was only there an hour. But he'd fix the thing that they were struggling with that no one else had been able to do. And this happened relatively frequently. And so they would get upset and say, wasn't all the time, believe me, but once in a while we'd have somebody that would say, but you weren't here, for very long. And they'd say, they'd question him about how long it took him and how much money he had charged for that, and he didn't overcharge people. And so they'd say, well, how it only took you an hour or hour and a half or whatever to do the thing. And he'd say, yes, and it took me 40 years or 30 years or whatever it was to learn how to do that in an hour. It would tick some people off. If you don't work with your hands, you don't get it. Yeah. Anyhow. Any hoots. Okay. Trying to keep my scrappy stuff over here out of the way. People are funny. Sometimes people are funny. All right. Let's see. I like this fish. I like the colors on this page. All right, let's see if we can do some fussy tearing of sorts. If you tear things as opposed to cut them, if you're new to collage, if you tear things rather than cut them, you'll get a softer edge. I do both. This is a stamp that I stamped on something, and then I added it to this paper collage that I did, and then we machine stitched on it. I think I did that on stream, and then I made a copy of it, and then I've been just gradually using bits and pieces of it on different projects. Alright, it's close enough. It's good enough. Where should we put this fish? We want this fish swimming in from the edge. Maybe we'll let this fish swim in, swim downhill. What do you think? He is a neat fish, isn't he? I think it was a stamp by Fred Mullet. And I took a class with him one time. And he produced a whole bunch of sea life stamps, beautiful sea life stamps. They were really great stamps, and I don't think that he has them anymore, because I think somebody looked them up for me one day and said that they weren't being produced anymore, which is sad. Okay. And let's just trim this off while we're here. Anytime you get your scissors off full of glue, use alcohol. And alcohol will help clean up your scissors. Alright, so there's our fish. I like that fish. I like the colors of him. I like that he's kind of coming in from up there somewhere. These, I think, as I recall, Amber sent a bunch of these to me. And I'm going to tell you, I love a good spot. And so I think I might save these spots. I think that these are labels that she did. Amber should probably recognize them. They're labels, I believe, that she did on the jelly plate. Let's see, those are right there. And I have a bunch of those. So I'm going to put these right up here, and we're going to add those as we go along. I found some mandalas here, so we'll add those. Of course we will. And this, and I have some butterflies. And this was a poem. This was a poem that, one of the things I don't know if you all knew about Claus Man is that he liked to write poetry. And he could write poetry when he sometimes couldn't speak or write, when he didn't know what to write. He would write poetry, and much of the time it was all rhyming poetry. I couldn't rhyme things to save my life. And when my granddaughter was getting married, they got married in New Zealand. So it was just the two of them, and they went to New Zealand to get married, and for a variety of reasons, they had wanted us to go with them, and for a variety of reasons that just wasn't something that was going to be able to happen. And so they asked us to write something for them. And I ran across this the other day when I was cleaning stuff out. This was a copy of the poem that he wrote for them. And so I'll read it to you because it's really small. So, Christy and Tyler. A note. It was called Note to Christy and Tyler. You love who you love to the moon and above, through all the clouds and the sky above. This is one of the most blissful days for the both of you in so many ways. For the two of you, I wish undying love for each other and from the universe above. May the power be with you wherever you go, with love in your heart and whatever you do. I know both of you. Christy, I know best. Tyler, you are a good man, and that's not just a guess. I send you my blessings with love in my heart. May you always love each other and never, ever part. So that was what he wrote for them, which I thought was very sweet. And so maybe we'll just put that right in here. What do you think? Isn't that a sweet little poem that he wrote for them? And that was they got married in February of 2020, and they got back from New Zealand just before everything shut down. I mean, they got married February 20th, and they came home, I mean, literally, they came home, they got back into the States just before everything closed down. If they hadn't gotten back when they did, I don't know how long it would have been before they would have gotten back. So I'm so grateful. I've always been grateful that they got back, for sure. But wasn't that sweet? I know. Let's take these mandalas. These were ones that I found. I screenshot these from Instagram. So I collected these for a long time. I used to get things like this shown to me a lot on Instagram. For whatever reason, I must not have liked enough of them because they've quit showing them to, or whoever posted them may have stopped posting them. Who knows? But these are, most of these, the ones that really appeal to me are the nature ones. And so this one was all flowers. This one is shells and rocks and flower, or leaves. So let's do this. And then I have another one over here that's all shells. So you can make mandalas. You don't have to draw them if you are not someone who likes to draw. One of the things we did with Beyond Mandala Madness, when we were all trying to stay sane during the lockdown, is I got a couple of bouquets of flowers, and we used the flower blooms and created mandalas of the flower blooms. One of the things that's fun about that is that it's not permanent, and so it's a little bit like creating a mandala out of sand that the Buddhist monks, I suppose they still do them, but it's a little bit like that, where they create the mandalas out of colorful sand, and then they sweep them, they have them for a while, and then they sweep them out into, I think it's usually a river. And I find that, I mean, they will work so hard on those beautiful, incredible sand mandalas. And it's that, the impermanence of it, and it's not holding anything too tightly in your hand, which is always a challenge for me, to be quite honest. Oh, good. That's great. You're going to do well. You're going to do great. Barbara Clark does beautiful mandalas, and she's going to teach folks in her book arts workshop. I think that's wonderful. Go for it. You bet. Okay, I want to keep track of my spots here so I don't lose them. So let's put these mandalas on here, because mandalas always make me feel better. Always make me feel better. I love a good mandala. Let's see. I think I'm just gonna, I don't necessarily need to keep this text down here. I can always add it again. with something else. I can make a label or whatever. So let's put this in the crack of this book. I do love a journal that is nice and fat, you know? Although I said I wasn't going to put cardstock in here because I didn't want it to get too fat. You know, that's... Sometimes I change my mind. So let's... That's a person's prerogative. Okay, so we put that one in there. Let's do... Let's do this one. I'm trying to cover up some of this. Let's let this one come in from the top of the page. Which way do I want it? This way. That feels like the right way around. I like things coming in from the edges or hanging out, you know, hanging out of the book. I like that because it... Is that the way I wanted it? Was this the way I wanted it? But we're gonna go this way because I can't remember exactly how I just had it. Doesn't matter. Okay, my hands are getting gluey. Let me get a baby wipe here. When I was cleaning out the studio, which by the way, drum roll please, I have almost my entire studio space at the other house cleaned out and all the stuff dealt with. I'm now the proud renter of a dumpster. Elton was kind enough to get me a dumpster to put in my driveway over there, so it meant I didn't have to bag up all the trash anymore, which was excellent. I could just take stuff out and throw it over the edge of the dumpster. It was hugely helpful. Hugely helpful. Anyway, so the studio space over there, the space itself is now, all the stuff is out of it. There's some furniture there, but all the supplies, all the stuffs are dealt with after numerous trips to Goodwill and lots of stuff in the dumpster. The studio is clear. The sewing room, the studio is clear, other than the shelves and the stuff that furniture type stuff that has to be dealt with. There's a couple of files. Everything's empty. Everything's empty. Yes. There were a lot of emotional bombs in that space. I am so grateful to be through that. Many emotional bombs that some of those just rise up and just smack you in the face. Yes, they do. All right, back to this. So there is that one, and then I have one more mandala here. And I think, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this in here, cut this off, and put that part somewhere else. I'm just making fresh glue paper so I don't glue everything down here. I shared lots of stuff with Goodwill. So people who are artsy may find some really good stuff there. I hope that some of it goes to good use, and you know what? If it doesn't, I tried. I tried to make it go to good use. Okay, let's take this little piece off. Okay. And let's take this piece and put it up here. Not for any particular reason other than it just seemed like that's where it should go. And that's what you do with a page like this. You just keep putting stuff. You just keep putting stuff. Okay, let's go like so. This little thing says, write your way to well-being. I can tell you that when I have not been journaling much, boy, I can really tell it. I can certainly tell it. Alright, let's use this one, and I may just put glue on it, and then we'll just figure out where it goes. You ordered the art quilt book, the one with all the journal or the journal pages. You got a halo book instead. What is a halo book? You ordered one thing and got something different. Is that what you mean? If that's the case, I'm so sorry that happened to you. The journal quilts, that one. You've been journaling in your old recipe books lately. It's very satisfying. Reusing old books. I know. It is. Okay, we're going to use this little bit that's down here also. Just a good reminder. And you know what I found is as I've been going through and sorting and getting rid of and all that kind of stuff and having to decide what things were valuable to me and what things I could let go. Sometimes I kept something in the first go round, and then the second go round it didn't make the cut and it found its way elsewhere. Isn't that funny how you can change your mind as you go along? Hey, Gray. Oh, Halo is a video game? Well, that's terrible. I bet you were disappointed. I would be terribly disappointed in that too. Sorry, I'm not very up on things like that. Okay, so I have some butterflies. This is from some, I don't know, some scrapbook paper that came from somewhere. Somebody may have sent it to me. I don't really know. We're going to pretend that the butterfly doesn't have antenna. Elton has the funniest cuckoo clock that he bought. He and his wife, who passed away, I believe, when they were in, where would you make cuckoo clocks? Where do you do cuckoo clocks? Germany? Switzerland? I don't know. Anyway, they bought this clock, and I guess everybody that was on the trip pretty much bought a cuckoo clock. And this one is so typically Elton. He has a very cracked sense of humor sometimes. There isn't anybody really that enjoys life much more than Elton does. And this cuckoo clock, I got to be careful here. I'm going to cut off this. I don't mind cutting off the antenna, but I don't want to cut his body parts off. The antenna will grow back, I'm sure. Anyway, it is this woman who, the cuckoo clock sings a you know, sings a song, plays a song, and then outside there is the figure of a man outside the cuckoo clock and the figure of a woman, and the woman has a board in her hand, and so as the song is playing in the cuckoo clock, she is whacking him over the head. He's sitting at a table, and apparently he's been out and he's had just like one too many beers or something, or he came home drunk or whatever. Anyway, she is just wailing on him. And every time Elton thinks about that and talks about that, he gets tickled about it, you know, 'cause that woman was not happy with him. And I don't know, I thought his wife who passed away must have, maybe she had, I didn't know her, I knew her, but I didn't know her very well, and so she must have had a little bit of a cracked sense of humor too, don't you think? Because I'm not sure that would have been my first choice of cuckoo clocks to bring home or ship home, and I'm sure it wasn't an inexpensive venture to get a cuckoo clock and have to have it shipped home. Anyway, every time I hear it playing, it's whatever the song is, and it's a variety of songs that it plays, and every time I hear it, and I can just picture that woman figure beating on, just wailing on her husband because he did something bad. It is funny. It really is. It's a very funny clock. And Elton thinks it's hysterical. He does think a lot of things are very funny. He had a coach when he was in high school that had a huge impact on him. In fact, if he was here, he'd tell you the whole story, but he's not. So I can tell you part of the story, but I'm sure I won't get it all. Anyway, this coach made sure that they understood that they needed to enjoy and get the most out of every single day. And I can tell you, I had some impactful teachers when I was in high school and college, but I'm not sure that I could really tell you much of what they said to me, other than I just remember them having a big impact on me, but I'm not sure that their words had the impact on me that they did on him. Anyhoot, okay. Butterflies. Let's see. Do we have anything else here I want to put in here? This is cardstock, so we won't use that. That's cardstock. Oh, this beautiful flower. I don't know where this came from. I ripped it off of something, or somebody ripped it off of something and sent it to me. I'm not sure. I don't know. Let's see if we can thin it down a little bit without ripping the page totally apart. If you can thin down an image by taking off the backing of whatever it was stuck to, or if it was a multi-layered piece of paper, if you can take some of that layered business off, it'll be easier to stick in your journal, and it'll glue down better. So I'm just kind of peeling up the excess. I won't be able to get it all, I'm sure, but let's cut out this pretty flower. And flowers always make me feel good. I do love a nice bouquet. I love roses. I love bouquets of flowers, fresh flowers. One of the things my dad used to do when he was going to be late coming home, of course he taught flower arranging and all kinds of flower things at the university. That was his teaching specialty, and he frequently would bring home flowers from a class. When he was going to be late, he would come in with flowers. So it was not unusual at all for us to have fresh flowers at our house. And I can still remember when I go into a flower shop, the smell of the flowers takes me right back to the days when I would walk over from my school, because it was pretty close to his office, and I could walk over to his office, and sometimes he would be in the flower room, and I still smell that smell of fresh flowers, and that's so reminiscent of those days. My memories. The smells are aromas in particular carry a lot of impact. Okay, let's move these butterflies over. I don't know where they're going to live yet, but we have some butterflies, which is always good. You can't have too many butterflies. Yeah, a very good memory. Good memory. Alright, this is still a little thick in a couple spots, but, you know, it's okay. Alright, let's see if we can just... where do I want to put this? I think maybe it wants to live right about... I think it wants to live right about there. Don't you think? I think so. Alright, this is going to take quite a bit of glue because there is a couple of spots that are a little thickish. You smell your grandma when you smell Chanel's No. 5. Yeah. And the aromas and smells are very... Baking bread is another one. I'll tell you a funny story about my mom. Alright, let me put this in here first. Which way do I want it? I want it to go this way. In the church that we grew up in, the ladies had circles, they were called. And they were the smaller groups. Like at our church, we have what's called life groups. And the life groups at our church are, our life group is couples. But there are some that, you know, are singles. And I don't know if any of them are just ladies or not, but anyway, at the church we grew up in, the ladies were divided into circles, and once a year, all of the circles, they would spend a lot of the year making things, and once a year they would put on the church bazaar, and so they would make things for the bazaar. And our mom was, you know, she wasn't real confident with artwork and that kinds of things, but she could bake and cook. And I mean, sometimes she would crochet an afghan or, you know, something like that. But, you know, she more often than not would bake things, you know, quick breads and things like that. Now, we had... When I was very small, they got me a kitten, and her name was Mitzi. And she was a tabby, and those were the days when no one spayed or neutered their pets. And so Mitzi blessed us with lots of kittens through the years. I'm sure that was a population explosion over time, but anyway, Mitzi had several kittens that we ended up keeping through the years, and twice she had single kittens, and I don't know how that happened, but anyway, she had single kittens, and both of those single kittens stayed with us, and then they ended up leaving home and moving in with neighbors. Not for any reason that we could ever determine, but they did. So anyway, and then there was another kitten that we kept. We had a litter of kittens. It was a whole long thing, but we had a litter of kittens that only one kitten survived. And so he stayed with us, and his name was Nicky. So Nicky and Mitzi were the two cats that we primarily had. And so anyway, this one year, Mom was baking, it was poppy seed bread, I think, or a lemon bread, I've forgotten. But it was some kind of quick bread. She was baking lots of those. And they had to be glazed. So they had to be glazed. And I'm just looking here. Hold the phone. I'm trying to think. Just trying to see what I want to do here. I'll be right back with you. Okay. So she had made, I came home from school this one day, and she had all of these breads on the counter, and they were beautifully done, and she had a bunch of them. She had worked all day long on these breads, all day long, and they were all glazed and everything. And I said something about, because it was not unusual for me to go home after school, and I would often sit on the counter. I know, sounds awful. Even when I was too old to do that, I would sit on the counter while she was fixing dinner, and we would talk. And so I said something to her about the breads, and boy, she had a lot of bread done and that kind of stuff. And she's like, yeah. And then she said, a terrible thing happened. I'm like, a terrible thing happened? What? How could that be? I said, well, what was that? And she said, you have to promise me that you'll never, ever tell anyone. Okay. So I promised. She said, you can't even tell your dad. I'm like, okay, I promise I won't tell anyone. I won't even tell Dad. She proceeds to reveal that for some unknown reason, Mitzi, the mama kitty, and our cats were never allowed to get on the table or get on the countertop or do anything like that. And for some unknown reason, that day, when Mom wasn't, they just didn't do it. They learned not to get up on the counter. And this is so long ago, I'm okay to tell this story. Mom's gone, so she wouldn't. It's okay. So, although she'd be horrified if she knew I was telling this story, but that's okay. So this one day, or this one moment in time, she turned her back and went in the other room. She might have changed laundry or something like that. And she turned her back, and she came out in the kitchen, and here was Mitzi on the counter, and she was licking. She wasn't eating, but she was licking the top of, I don't know how many loaves of bread, but she was licking the glaze off. It was like a powdered sugar glaze. And my mother was horrified. For one reason, that she had spent all this time making these breads for this bazaar, which was the following day. She did not have time to redo them. And she was so horrified at the entire situation. She did not know what to do. And she is about to kill the cat. It's a wonder the cat even survived that. And she was so angry with that cat. Doesn't know what to do about it. And she said, but you can never, ever tell anyone. I said, okay. And my mom was very proper, I guess you would say. She would not push the envelope much. And so what she revealed to me about this was so out of character for my mom that I never forgot it. And I said, well, what happened? And I said, did you throw those away? Is that what you had to do? You had to throw them away? And she goes, no, I just wiped them off with a paper towel and made some fresh glaze and just reglazed them. And then because she decided that Mitzi's spit and some fresh glaze were not going to kill anybody as long as she didn't tell. So the moral of that story is be careful what you buy at a church bazaar. Yeah, and I mean that sincerely. And when she told me, I don't remember ever laughing any harder at anything ever. But thinking about my mother reglazing the poppy seed bread or lemon bread or whatever it was, reglazing it and taking it to the bazaar and letting them sell it. Yeah. So the moral of the story, be careful what you buy at a church bazaar. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty funny myself. Twice glazed bread. That's right, Greg. Twice glazed bread. Funny. I know. I'm just adding a few more books to the stack over here because that, why have a few books when you can have a lot of books on your stack of books? But isn't that the funniest thing? Oh, man. That was so fun. But, I mean, I think she had to confess to someone. I don't think she could live with the knowledge by herself. I don't think she could handle that. I don't think she could stand it. So she had to confess it to someone, and for whatever reason, I don't know, she confessed it to me. Yeah, she confessed it to me. Okay, so we're going to put this little stack of books right here. That's kind of what my books in my house kind of look like. They get kind of wonky. Grand new cat's done. Rhonda, there you go. Okay, so, all right, let's stick some butterflies on here, and I may stick some more things on here as time goes by. Well, let's put some butterflies, and then we'll stick on some dots, and then we may call it good. I may never come back to this page again, but then again, I might. You never know. All right, we're going to stick this little butterfly over here because he's got a wingtip cut off, so that's okay. What else do we have? We have another butterfly with his wing cut off, and so maybe we'll, no. Maybe we'll let that little butterfly live over there by the poem, because I think I can make it look like it's tucked under, kind of tucked under that poem, so it would kind of make sense. Although it's not tucked under, it kind of looks like it is. All right, another butterfly. This one has all his wings, and oh no, he's got a little tiny tip missing here. Oh no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. It's okay. Let's put this butterfly right here. Cover up that bottle of whatever it is. And a little blue butterfly. I can always come back and cut out some more butterflies. I have another whole section of this, plus I'm sure I have some more whole pages of that somewhere. Let's put this butterfly on top of, well, I didn't mean for it to be straight. And then this one, let's see, is that, we're gonna kind of alter this one to match the other side. There we go. So I think you guys should do a page kind of like this. It's a fun page to do, actually, and it's just all stuff out of my scrap box. And maybe put this little butterfly right here on this little kitty head. Alright, let's stick some spots on, shall we? Might add some more things later, but let's put on some spots. Amber, do you remember doing these? Thanks, Amber. Remembering that I will not be here the May 2nd, 5th, or 9th. But then after that, I think I'm back for a while. Okay, we're not going to stress over this. We're just going to put these on here. And another thing that's fun to do with this kind of stuff is... Yes, ma'am? Didn't you do these on the jelly plate? Isn't that what you did? Here, let's do... and this. Let's see if we can carefully weed the back. I'm trying to get the back off of this label paper. This may be more work than I want to. Here we go. My hands are quite gluey at this point. So you can even use the little circle parts. After you use the spots, then you can take the parts that were around the circles and you can use them. I will not belabor this very long, believe me. This is going to... If I had longer fingernails or a pin here, like a sewing pin, do I have one? I do. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. That helped. Because like I said, who doesn't like a good spot? I have a, or I did, I don't know if I have it anymore. I had a hat that was a Mary Englebright hat, like a baseball cap, and it says, it was a child hugging a puppy, and it says, everyone deserves their own spot. Let's just put this on this. Nope, we don't want to do that. I don't know. That one doesn't seem to want to live anywhere. Okay, let's put some more spots on here. And let's use some of these spots. You just need to have some good some good spots in your life, because, you know, like that hat said, everybody deserves their own spot. This is a good one. They're all good. Actually, I like that right in the middle of that. So I'm going to do it. Some of these I may have to go back and reinforce with some glue. You believe you even made some that have glitter paint. Well, that's the only way to have glitter, in my opinion. That's the only way to use glitter. Is to have it trapped in paint. Yes, ma'am. There's a beautiful bright yellow spot. All right, let's cut these off. And we're just about to call this a day or an evening or something. Let's trim these up. Sometimes with the adhesives on these stickers, you end up having to come back and add some glue behind them, but you know, I'll do that. I'll do that another day. There's no reason for you to watch that. And I've still got some work I need to do tonight, and so I'm going to have to take my leave here and get all the garbage out of the way so you can see the things that make me feel good tonight, the ones that I found. And there's plenty of little spaces here to doodle around things, and that may happen as well. But what makes you feel better? Kittens, butterflies, good spots, mandalas, flowers, art, dirty hands, more mandalas, a silly monster shooting a basketball, artwork, a little doodle that Clausman did, a little poem that he wrote for my granddaughter and her husband when they got married, butterflies, stacks of books, more mandalas, more spots, more flowers, more kittens, a flower that someone drew and sent to me, writing, 20-minute practice can make you happier, healthier, and more resilient, silly looking fish, and all of those things make me feel better. And I feel great. So, thank you for joining me tonight. I hope that you try something similar to this. Just make a collage. Sometimes it helps to have a prompt like that, you know, what makes you feel better. And sometimes it's good to have a prompt, and then that gives you something to look for and a reason for collaging. You know, sometimes when you sit down to do a collage and you don't know what you're doing, it's like, I don't know where to start. But if you have a prompt like that, then it kind of guides you as you go. Okay? You are welcome. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Couple weeks. I will be back on the 12th. That's a Monday night. I think that's the 12th. I'll be back then. And until then, have you guys be good, be creative, and get creative every single day, because you know it's easy. And I'll see you before you know it. All right? See you now. See you now. See you then. Bye for now. How about that? All right. See you later. Bye, everybody.